husband, daddy, protector, hero. That is what a father is supposed to be. But today we're going to kill a whole bunch of stereotypes about the narrative of father, okay? So many times we hear about the negative of the single parent mother. But let's talk about the other extreme. What about the dad that's just doing most of it on his own and doing it well? Dads, you need to be fathers. This is the show for you. If you're fighting for your kids, I want you to pay attention because you deserve to be with the kids if you're a good man. If you're fighting for custody of your kids, this is the show I want you to listen to. I got a very special guest. I can't wait. Let's break some stereotypes. Let's raise up this village. Mentorship moments. Each one teach one. What happens when Superman becomes super dad? I got the backup.
Sometimes you just gotta make it happen. Gonna make it happen. Gonna make it happen. Just make it happen. Just make it happen. Just make it happen.
All right, man, it's so good to be back. And man, I could not wait to get this guest on the show to talk about this subject. Well, CJ, why couldn't this wait till Father's Day? It can't wait. I only have a show twice a month. So I had to get these shows when I get these special guests. But you know what? Let's talk about some stats here, And I'm reading from Black Enterprise magazine. You can catch it on the web. It's definitely support. This article is by Samara Lynn, done June 15th. Look at statistics from the Pew Research Center, data from 2017. 36% of black children under 18 years old live with married parents. 47% live with single mothers. Listen to this, guys. 7% with cohabitating partners, and 4% live with single fathers. Since I like stats, for credibility, I got another one for you. About 24 million children in America live without their biological father, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. And there have been numerous local national efforts to improve these statistics. Now, this is from the Associated Press. The article is entitled "Single Black Fathers Fight the Deadbeat Dad Stereotype," and by R. Khalid Sattar II of Milwaukee Neighborhood News Service. That's June 28, 2019. So, hey, go check that article out and support, okay? These are staggering. Now, let me give out a disclaimer really, really quick. For my viewers who are not African American, this isn't about, black this, black that. This is about learning through us. We get to learn through you guys. Now you get to learn through us and share. So before you start saying, oh, it's just so sad, single black fathers and mothers, listen, 24 million. That means there's some white single moms and single dads out there, okay? We are learning from each other, so don't go feeling good about yourself, okay? But if you're in for the knowledge, if you're in for the teamwork, then that's what we're all about in this village right here. But before we get into our guest, very special guest, I got to give out some shout-outs. First of all, some well-deserved birthday shout-outs to Xavier and Dion Joseph. Happy 22, and with your deep voices. I got a little surprise for them a little bit later today, because, there's these little superstars. So I got a surprise. Sponsors, Denise Porter, God bless you, thank you, and our sponsors from and gratitude from Mutual Realty Consultants, Yolitas Carter. You are amazing. You can catch her on Facebook /Mutual Realty Consultants. She's the bomb.com. I'm telling you. Listen, if you guys want to sponsor this show, all you got to do is call her brother. You call her brother. All right. Let's talk about the Black Health Trust. This went down this weekend. I was so proud to be a part of the Black Health Trust. What happened, CJ? What happened was this personal trainer right here got called on to a panel of the nation's greatest African-American doctors, and we rock the house together. It is nice to be at the table talking about health in my profession, and it worked out just fine. I learned so much, and we're going to have Dr. Cutter on the show as a guest on my show very soon. I'm excited about that. Now, look, guys, Guys, if you want to keep positive community shows like this going, you got to help sponsor a brother. Again, I thank Denise Porter. I thank my guest, Mutual Realty Consultants, for helping me out this week on another matter. Awesome. You deserve a shout out. But hey, let's talk about community support for community show. One of the ways you can, help the show out is you can do Venmo. You can do Venmo at CJ Functional. That's Venmo at CJ Functional. Hey, pass that collection plate. I'm not asking for thousands of dollars, but then again, why not? If the churches do it, so can I. You can also do the same on Cash App, $CJ Functional. If you love the show and you want to see this keep going, then it's on the crack, and then we got to do this. All right, so let's talk about my guest. My guest is Mr. LaTeef Williams. I mean, this guy is amazing. He's 41 years old. He's an MMA extraordinaire. He's a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's also a firefighter. They call him the Renaissance Man. I call him the Free Spirit Man. This brother is amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, allow me to introduce you to the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that's going to impart some wisdom on us. Single dads, dads alone, Mr. LaTeef, the Python Williams. Here's a little video vignette about it.
Literally, you hear people flatlining in ICU. I never forget, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. You can hear all the hustle and bustle of the nurses, and all day you hear beep, beep, beep. I'm like, man, that's not going to be me. Physiologically, I didn't have enough oxygenated blood for my brain to function, and I never lost consciousness. He didn't understand that. He said, technically, you bled out. They were doing everything they possibly could, but he said, just wait on you to die. Starting out in jiu-jitsu and being in good shape.
Nah, keep your arms extended. Arms extended.
Oh, it's harder.
Yeah, you did it right. Drive, LaTeef.
I just passed the physical agility test for the LA City Fire. And I remember thinking, am I going to ever be the same? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be better.
Awesome. Hey, this is what I'm talking about. The reason why I am so enthused about this young brother is like his life literally began after he was shot. And I want to just, let's quit waiting. Let's put LaTeef on the screen. Mr. LaTeef, the Python Williams, we can see you, brother. Say what's up to the American people. What's up?
What's up? Man, you know how to make a dark man blush and all that.
We got more photos coming up, bro, as we get to talking. Today I want to talk about being a single. Now, you're not single, so I mean, I know you're big, dark chocolate sexy, and I mean that in the straightest way possible, because I'm dark and sexy myself, with a happily married woman. So I'm not throwing you out to the wolves, but you are raising your son on your own. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Along with, we all have a village, but yes, I am divorced. I'm legally divorced. And yeah, man, it's me. It's me and him.
Wow.
Well, relocated to Florida, so he's the only relative I have in the state right now. So
this brother's across the country. I'm telling you, I'm so connected. I got so many guests waiting for you guys. It's ridiculous. But before we get onto that topic, I'd like to talk about superhero origins. Now, we played a video of you discussing that time we were in the gym, and you were talking about how you, in my mind, your rebirth started when you got, because I think you're a very free-spirited individual for the stereotypical brother. I'm the stereotypical brother. I don't surf, I don't swim, I don't do any of this stuff. Let's talk about that day and let's build from there. Let's talk about that.
Well, yeah, my origin, I guess, from, if you say that where the hero, comic book hero started from, the tragedy that impacted her life. And it was when September of 2004, shot 5 times sitting at a red light on the corner of Crenshaw and Hyde Park. Giving my buddies a ride home. This was after we went and watched Sugar Shane Mosley fought Oscar De La Hoya. And, I always got to move past the, well, what were you doing being shot? What were you doing? And I was like, I was sitting at a red light. I don't smoke, I don't drink. So when me and my boys would go out and, hang out and party, I was always a designated driver. And, as long as you gave me gas money, we was good. And the guy who shot me and the passenger, he was a known gang member. So statistically, had I died, it would have been registered as a gang shooting, which to me would have been inaccurate because there was only one participant in that shooting that was a gang member, and he was the shooter. The other two, we weren't part of any type of gang.
Well, I want to keep it real because this will spill over to another point I wanted to mention. So it's a shame that it would have been titled that had you died, and thank God you hadn't have died. Since then, you had an epiphany. What was that? I mean, what was it like? What was it like in the ER? Tell us about that. Let's build on
I remember, like, people go, "Oh, you were in shock and you were this," and I was like, "Nah." I remember being pissed. I remember driving to the hospital, punching the steering wheel, hitting my on-start button, like, man, I just got shot and I didn't do nothing. I've done crazy stuff in my life, but nothing with that. And it was like a movie. I remember driving to the emergency rooms, Daniel Freeman Hospital, right across from Centinela Park Cemetery. And I remember trying to hop out because I made it right to where the ambulance entrance doors open up. And I remember trying to tell them my boy got shot because he was yelling and screaming and I was just mad and my leg didn't work. And I remember I hit the ground and I remember it was kind of hard to breathe, but it felt like, just my stomach feel real full. I remember looking at my hands and my hands shaking and the fog coming out my breath because it was a cold night. And I can see the stars behind my blood covered hands. And I'm like, man, am I going to die? And just within that, I was like, nah, I'm not going to die. I haven't seen Japan. I haven't seen Africa yet. What's my mom going to do? What's my brother going to do? And after that, this guy, I remember somebody grabbed me and scooped me up and drugged me into the ER, and just everything was going. And it was parts of it I remember, but parts of it really stick out. I remember I was 275 at the time. I was powerlifting. I graduated Fire Academy. I played arena league as well as semi-pro football. So I was a big, strong, healthy guy. So I remember there was only one of them, and I was awkward position to put me into the X-ray machine. So I remember pushing them out the way, and I'm just pulling myself in the X-ray machine and pushing myself out. And I hop back on the gurney myself. And I remember the ER doctor stopping everybody saying, "Look, wait, how many times have you been shot?" Some person said 3, some person said 2, and he stopped and he leaned over, he said, "Mr. Williams, we're going to check you out. I'm going to palpate you and see." I was like, okay. I don't know if he knew at the time that I already graduated Fire Academy. I was already EMT. So that's how I knew when I got shot, I wasn't going to sit waiting for an ambulance. I knew I needed a hospital. In a trauma situation, there's no medicine, there's no nothing in the back of an ambulance. You need a doctor and you need surgical steel. That's it. And diesel to get you there.
Wow.
So he leaned back over and he said, "Mr. Williams," he said, you got 5 entrances. You got 7 wounds. You got 5 entrances and 2 exits. 3 in the abdomen we got to worry about. I was like, okay. And then I remember my heart dropped because I know the statistics of being shot in the abdomen. You have your ascending aorta, my pancreas, my liver, my gallbladder. I knew too much. So, but I still didn't let that totally, get me down because I remember them putting me in reverse Trendelenburg. They were raising my legs up because they needed blood, as much blood as possible to flow to my organs, my essential organs. And I remember them saying, "Oh, he's shocky. We're going to need blood soon." And I remember going, "Who's shocky? I'm not cold and I'm not tired either. Who y'all talking about?"
Wow.
And then I remember looking up and then putting up my 4th bag of IV. And That's about 1,000 milliliters of fluid, and the body only holds, 4 to, if you're a big guy like me, you have like 5 to 6,000, but I'd already bled out pretty much half of what I was supposed to have in me.
That's deep, man.
And I remember the doctor going, hey, we're going to need blood. And I remember I grabbed the doctor and I said, Doc, be positive. Oh, Mr. Williams, yeah, we're going to be very positive. And I'm like, no, my blood type, man, be positive, be positive.
Oh man. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, so I mean,
And,
so you technically you as the story goes, and I mean you pretty much could have done, you were good for dead that night. And to the grace of God, you came out of it. I mean, and that's a miracle
yeah.
in itself. I'd love to have I got a couple more brothers. I'd like to have a panel about, surviving stuff like that. But let's talk about what it changed into. I'll talk about how I met you real quick, and from the LaTeef that I knew. Me and LaTeef and I, we were both grapplers. I believe, if I recall, I was training for my first professional submission tournament, and I
Yep.
went to Coach Ahmad, and God bless him, Coach Ahmad School, and that's where I met for Fernando and Ghost and yourself, and we all just started wrestling.
Yeah.
And the one thing about when I was wrestling LaTeef is it didn't matter what position, if he was dominant, non-dominant, whatever. He just had this cool about him that nobody else had in the room. It's like he always had this like crazy smile. Like this dude, I said, who is this guy, man? He had this free spirit. Now, a couple of years later, he's getting into more MMA fights, and he was looking for a trainer. So he comes into my studio, and let me tell you, I was burnt out on training MMA fighters. I was burnt out. I had enough, because a lot of times, you sponsor these guys, and and it's like, it's just a nightmare. But this guy was persistent, not in I can't even call it nagging. It was persistent in the right way. It was like, he was like, if I was an angel, he was Jacob, like breaking my hip, grabbing me, wouldn't let me go until I trained him. So I said, okay, I started working with him on his conditioning and stuff like that. And I felt joy training, because the joy in his heart, he had something that I lacked. He'd been through something that made him think about life differently, man.
I remember I couldn't afford it. So I was like, look, I'll clean up the gym.
Yeah, I remember.
I'll be in there mopping down all the equipment after clients, and cleaning the bathroom, and
And,
nothing's too humble for me not to do.
and it's funny, you didn't even have to do that, man. You were so cool. He came in his big truck and sunglasses, and then we got him in incredible shape, and shouts out to all the wrestling coaches, Antonio McKee, that we all teamed up separately to really get this brother in shape. And one thing that tripped me out, the day of the fight, you guys look at the photo, man, he's flipping that tire like a bad boy. The day of the fight, I'm nervous. Ahmad's nervous. Everybody around is just, I mean, Ahmad's cool. He's always cool. But, that fight hype, he was right at the ring. And I'm there. And LaTeef walked in a ring with a big old cobra around his neck. He's just chill as I don't know what, because he was ready. And he was beyond the ring. And he got in there, and he destroyed his opponent in about 60 seconds. How did that feel? And when he got up, he was so cool. Tell us about that real quick before we go to break.
I remember I was already upset. But Ahmad didn't like me fighting Matt. I remember he told me that.
Yep, that's Ahmad.
But one time I fought Matt, like the whole game plan went out the window. I'm not a brawler. I'm not a sit there and take punches and nothing like that. That's not a smart way to fight. And the one fight that I did that, he's screaming, no, no, no. And I knocked the guy out, and Ahmad was like, we don't fight like that.
That's Ahmad. That's Coach Ahmad. God bless him, man.
That fight, the Tall Paul Karski, he didn't make weight. He normally is a heavyweight, and he said he wanted to come back down to light heavyweight. And he's Karski was 6'7", and he was supposed to be at 205, and I dieted down, and woke up the day of the fight at like 207, so lost 2 pounds, no problem. I get to the fight, and like the promoter comes over, and he goes, Brett Roberts, he goes, yeah, we're gonna have to make the fight at 210. I was like, 210? I was like, why? I am 205. He's like, Paul's at 210. I was like, well, go make him lose weight.
Right.
Like, if I couldn't eat pizza and cookies and ice cream, he needs to lose the weight, man. So So he was like, all right, look, they had ways of getting around it back then to where that you can still keep most of your purse instead of the purse going to the athletic commission. So we worked it out. But I was already kind of going in with a chip on my shoulder that, one, I'm mad because, fighting, that's the one discipline thing you should have as respect to the other
100%
fighters, respect to the profession. You choose a weight, you both supposed to weigh that weight. That is your responsibility to weigh that weight and be ready to fight on this day. And
man, bro, but you went in,
yeah.
and you closed the show with a rear naked choke. It was so,
Yeah.
and I was going to show the picture, but I don't want to, like, I don't know if your boys watch it. I don't want to do that to him, but you closed it out,
Cool.
and you did such an amazing job. It made me, I said, this guy is on a whole nother thinking level. And now we're going to talk about struggle when we come back. But first, a commercial from CJ's Functional Fitness. In life, we all have opponents to prepare for. But you don't have to be a fighting champion to defeat your current condition. You don't need to be the ultimate anything to tap out the stressors in life. But what if I told you that mastering your physical well-being, like a fighter, directly relates to mastering the obstacles in your daily life? The only challenger that awaits you is yourself. Do you accept your challenge? I'm CJ, and this is CJ's Functional Fitness, where you don't have to be a fighter to feel like one. So let's train. All right, man. So we heard the superhero origin. We heard how we met. Then from there, I want to get to the meat of the story, man. You were in California. You were trying out for law enforcement. You were trying out for a lot of things, and unfortunately, and I even tried to get you in there. And I'm just embarrassed that these agencies didn't pick a brother up like you, because you had an incredible story. You went down to Florida. I mean, you were in California, got married. Beautiful family. Tell us where it went right and where you felt it went wrong. And I'm gonna let you have this to talk about, because there's some dads out there that are having issues right now, trying to do the same thing that you were successful at. Let's talk about it.
So I made it on with LA County Sheriff's Department, and disappointment of some of my LAPD brethren, including my cousin, who's a sergeant, was pretty upset at that. But struggled for a while to be a firefighter in California, and it's just very competitive, very difficult. So I got laid off from a firefighting job at Northrop Grumman in El Segundo, and that's where I met my ex-wife, and then got hired with LA County Sheriff's and went straight to the jail. They love my, grappling and submission background, my fighting background. So I took to it very well, and then working in the jails is a definitely a very good sociological environment to learn from and be in as well. Being from Inglewood, it wasn't that much of an adaptation for me to be around people who were in jail, because it wasn't a big thing. I would kind of almost get in trouble. I have to stay away from inmate reception because what up, Python? What up, Teeth? I'm like, hey, Officer Williams, quiet, sit down, I get you a burrito, chill, So from there, my ex-wife is a electromechanical engineer. She's like, if you ever seen the show, the movie Hidden Figures, that's her lineage.
Wow.
She's very smart. She's lead engineer on the Hubble Space Telescope programs for the Endeavor and other top secret stuff. So when the opportunity came up for her to become a manager in aerospace industry, I was fully supportive of my wife. And I figured, well, I can now I have law enforcement and firefighting in my background. Everybody dials 911, and they gave us a very good offer of, relocating us. Didn't have to touch anything to move across the country. got us an apartment, helped us find a house, and just
Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there. Wait a minute. You dropped everything for her dreams. That I just want to like pause and reflect on that.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
I'm
Because,
sorry.
you know, usually, you know, you hear about the woman quitting her job and following man,
Yeah.
you know, like your shirt says, you know, I kind of live by a same but different, you know, said a father is a protector, a pleasurer, and a provider.
Oh, there's a P in there. I got that down too.
So I say the 3 Ps. And I'm not a monetary man. Money doesn't make me, you know. Millions of dollars have passed through our hands throughout our lives. So it's a paradox that we sacrifice so much for something so common as money. And we put so much value on something that's such little value as money.
Okay.
So her furthering her career and definitely making more money was great, but I looked at it as like, well, let's see, you know, it's no state tax, lower cost of living, real estate is better. She's furthering her career, and I was like, as long as I'm a firefighter or a cop, I'm good. I'm still living my dream. That's my dream, to be in civil service. So it kind of lined up to where I got a couple of recertifications because I let them lapse because I got into law enforcement. So she said, well, we're going to move, you know, why don't you recertify your EMT and any other classes, they'll pay for it so that when you get down there, you have more options. So I was like, all right, cool. So before we left, I started applying for jobs out here, and we got out here in May of 2015, and by June, actually, by the end of June, I was hired by Brevard County Sheriff's, and then by the end of July, I was hired by Orange County Fire Department.
Wow.
So
That's
I had
definitely
my choice of which way to go, and
that
it
is
kind of worked
totally
out
our
to it. At the
loss.
time, she was 6 months, like 6 months, 6 or 7 months pregnant at the time. So if I would have started with the sheriff's department, I would have been in academy around the same time my son was born.
Wow.
Versus if I started fire, it would have been after he was born. So as a family, we made the decision. She was like, well, start after he's born, because then if he's born in October, I didn't start fire academy until February. So I had that whole time to bond and be with my son.
Wow.
Plus, she was getting adjusted to her new job. I had my own job in itself because I had to be the foreman from moving a 3-bedroom, 3-bath house into a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment and storage, as well as supervise the building of our new home. Then our son was born, and then move everything out of the apartments and the storage into the home. And then after moving into the home, I started Fire Academy. After I started Fire Academy, then it was a year of probation, all with the newborn. And then after the year of probation, immediately after that, I was in anatomy and physiology for 4 months, which is a prerequisite for paramedic school. That Monday after I finished anatomy and physiology, I went through Dive Academy to become a certified rescue diver.
Wow,
and
that's
that
amazing.
Was for 3.5 weeks. And then that Friday I finished Dive Academy. That Monday I was in paramedic school for a whole year after that. And then 3/4 of the way through paramedic school, I filed for divorce. And so, and it really, you know, it hit the fan, and it couldn't come at the worst time because.
So you have a baby.
Yeah.
And it's going. You guys are living the dream house. I remember us talking. Everything's going right, and then now now it's falling apart. What is that like with a child, and a male child at that?
Yeah, I mean, because I was fortunate enough to be mature of when I got married. I didn't feel like my bachelorhood was in it. I felt like This is the next thing. This is the next chapter. I mean, if I can lock you up in Magic Mountain, you get on the rides. After that, you know, you locked up. You want to leave because all you can do is ride all the rides, and that's it. So I was done with bachelorhood. I was ready to be a dad and be a husband, and you know, all live that life. I was excited to live that life.
I remember you being all in. You called me. You were so excited, and now you're here. So there are men right now at this point. Now you're getting close to a divorce. How difficult was it? And like I said,
I'm divorced.
Okay.
Oh, you're talking about in the storyline.
I mean, in your story, how difficult was it for you at that moment? Because there are many people struggling at this point as a man, worrying about custody. I mean, we don't have to like get in like in specifics. Because I don't like, you know.
I would say this then. It was hard making that decision, but when I knew. And when I realized this whole time, she wanted to be married. She didn't want to be a wife.
Okay.
She wanted the role, but didn't want to play the part.
Okay.
It's a checkbox marriage. It went from, she had her education, and it went from having her education to, you know, her degree, and then her career. In the career, she bought a home. So the next thing was from the home, you need a husband, and husband, you need kids. Wow. And then, you know, it just went from, guys say, well, women get comfortable, you know, they start gaining weight and, you know, things like that once they get a man or once they get married. Me, it was an emotional and physical thing that just was like, you know, beforehand, I'll do anything to please my husband and, you know, whatever he wants and da-da-da. And then after that, it was like, it went just and I'm like, hey, whoa, you know, what happened, you know, here, you know, and it started messing with me psychologically because when she told me I no longer attracted her and like aroused her, I thought something was wrong with me.
Okay.
And then of course, you know, I'm bouncing this off of, you know, not people, you know, that, you know, not the wrong people like my mother and, you know, my female confidants that, you know, are related to me, not outside influences or nothing like that. No homegirls or nothing like that. Nobody, I wasn't consorting with anybody inappropriately. And they were like, nah, you know, it's not you. And when I knew it was over, because I knew to myself, I had to ask myself, did I do everything to save this? Did I try everything? We went to spiritual marital counseling, sexual marital counseling, psychological marital counseling. And when I sat back and all the answers were, you know, like who she was talking to, why her family knew about personal conversations between husband and wife, and then also there's some other mental health issues that I found out about, her family knew about,
right,
that they repressed her and hid from me. And it's not that I even wanted to run from that, because when we found that out, and I was like, well, sickness and in health. You know, I remember I tore both my ACLs when we were together and she was by my side. So, you know, if it's a mental health issue, then hey, that's what we got to deal with.
Now, I remember that conversation, and I'm glad you're sharing with the public the story. What about the health of the child? Was the child too young to remember, or were there effects of that? And then we're going to
he was too young to remember, but and I'm glad of that. And he kept me focused. He kept me, don't do that, because if you get arrested, you won't be with your son.
Yes, amazing.
But there were violations where, like, you know, this is Florida. They're way more gun liberal. Like, I got my concealed weapons license out here before I even got my vehicle registration. That's how it is. And there were times where my son was kept from me by my in-laws. And when I said, where's my son? Oh, wait till we get back to tell. And I'm like, what? Whoa, what? Wait till this is my son. And you're telling me to wait. And I went and beat on a couple of doors, so I found out where he was. And luckily, that there was no any direct incident,
There were so
but
many men that are going through what you're going through right now, who love their kids, they're doing everything they can, and they get to this point, and you're already talking about that raw emotion. Was there a point? Because there you were definitely persistent, but
yeah.
was there ever a point in those moments when it was all over and now we're in this battle here where you were felt helpless?
Yes, the best way I can describe it is I felt like I was treading water in the ocean, holding my son up, like dragging my ex-wife, and her family was in a boat on the other side, like pulling her feet away from me.
That's
You
poetic.
know, that's like the best way I can describe it, man. It was like, and I couldn't fall apart because I was a probationary firefighter.
Right.
I still was on probation. So I had to show up to work, make the coffee, make the tea, put up the flag. Yes, sir. No, sir. Be the first one up, last one to bed, first one on the engine, do my job. And any person in civil service knows when you come to work, you are not worried about your life. You are worried about everybody else's, whether it's your partner in your squad car, whether it's your crew on your engine, or your partner in your paramedic in your box, in your paramedic box. You don't worry about yourself because you have to be selfless. Everybody else worries about everybody else. So you don't have to worry about yourself.
Well, you know what's funny about being on probation when you're a civil service, law enforcement, fire, or whatever, you make even if it's a mistake outside of work is not even your fault. On probation, they can cut you. Is that right?
Exactly. It can be anything. And that's what one of the things that I was worried about. I mean, they'll do and they'll fire you first and then you'll fight for your job later.
Yeah.
But it's hell going through that worry about whether you're going to get your job back, even though you could be in the right. And they can just, they have, it's usually in every case, in every academy, police or fire or wherever, there's usually anywhere from small departments, maybe 5 to large departments, 500 other applicants who wanted to be in the seat that you were in. That class of 24 or 32, there was thousands who already applied, if not hundreds of thousands, considering West Coast. So you try your best not to have a bad day, whether it's physically in your actions or even psychologically. And
you got through. You're getting through this, and I'll leave a number. It's a lot to talk about. I wasn't going to give the number, but if there's a dad out there that's having these issues, I want to hear from you. 323-815-4204. That's 323-815-4204. If you're living this right now. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, another commercial from CJ's Functional Fitness, and then we'll continue this conversation, man. This is deep.
Not every day I have the power to fight, but my body needs me. My opponent is high blood pressure. You don't have to be a fighter to feel like one. So let's train.
All right, we're back, man. Mentorship moments, man. I'm learning, and I guess one of the people you could call to walk through this, and I feel like I'm relearning all over again. I'm feeling the pain of it. All right, so let's talk about the situation of custody with all you're going through, because there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but I really want to take us sum up the dark side.
So, yeah, figuring my marriage was over. I was done. I wasn't gonna win a fight with a woman who hadn't cleaved from her family. and wanted to live her marriage for her family and not for her husband and her immediate family. So, you know, I was done. And kind of the sugar to crap moment was I filed for divorce April 30th, 2018.
Wow, you remember the date.
And March 10th, I remember I was taking my third semester finals in paramedic school. And I mean, it was just fortuitous, the people who came in my life who were supposed to be there to help me. Her name is Janelle Woods. And I just met her through her son coming to the station. Turns out she's a phenomenal Black businesswoman who she owned her own bakery and just so happened to own her own paralegal service and just so happened to be a realtor as well. So, you know, me being the Proby firefighter, when the son came to the station, I showed around the station and everything and showed him around the station. And then they told her, oh, he'll be off probation, blah, 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 blah. And she actually surprised me with a cake. So she was like, yes, my bakery, da, 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 da. So, and at that time I was still married. So me and my ex were still together. So my son was turning 2. So I called her up, said, hey, you know, I organized my son's second birthday party at this place called Gorilla Joe's or something, Monkey Joe, something like that. It's like an indoor bounce house. So anyway,
sounds tasty. I said it sounds tasty.
Yeah. Imagine Chuck E. Cheese, but with bounce houses.
Okay.
So she made the cakes, made the cookies, and made everything, you know. So I was like, man, this is great. And so when I filed for divorce, like I ain't never commissioned a lawyer for nothing. I've never needed a lawyer for anything. So I was like, hey, Janelle is a paralegal. So I called her up. It's like, hey, you know, I'm filing for divorce. Gave her kind of the story what's been going on. And she was like, okay, don't worry, I got you. So when I filed for divorce, the day before, I remember I went to her office and I was like, here's everything. And she was like, okay. And she went through it page by page for free. This is $5,000 worth of legal services that she was like, I got you, don't worry. And this is just from me being who I was as a firefighter, you know, kind of, because she talked about how her son's day was so lit up and he never forget that day because, you know, we're rare. Black firefighters are rare. So for him to see somebody who looked like him showing him around, you know, it just, you know, made his day. So that was her paying it forward back to me. That same day, a woman who used to be a deputy sheriff who went to law school, who wanted to specialize in helping custody and divorcing civil servants, was at her office. She took my paperwork page by page, went through the whole thing. Okay, you want to do this, you want to do this, blah, 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 for free. All I had to do was pay the legal fees to file it. So I was like, oh, okay. Thank God. And in the beginning, all I wanted was 50-50 custody of my son and half the equity of the house that we built in Florida.
Right.
Just so I didn't even want the house, just half the equity so I can buy something so that our son can be just as comfortable with me as he is with his mother. I said, keep the house because that's the only place he's ever known as home. So Janelle calls me right after I took my my final. And she's like, you got to go down to Brevard Courthouse. And I was like, why? I just took my final. I got to go take my skills test. And so she goes, you got two restraining orders, 2 injunctions of domestic violence that you beat your son.
Wow.
She filed another injunction saying, you know, abusive marriage, just all kind. I'm like,
and all this stuff is just completely false.
Completely.
Wow.
Absolute. Like basically, she filed it on a Thursday. We were still living in the same house. We were still sleeping in the same bed because I really didn't have anywhere to go. And I said, well, just because we divorced, why do I need to make myself uncomfortable and sleep on the couch or sleep in the guest room? You go sleep in the guest room. I'm sleeping in this bed because this is the bed we bought. This is the Tempur-Pedic sleep number mattress for my back that we bought. I'm sleeping here. The night that she filed, we slept in the same bed next to each other. When it got tossed out, because she was still in her manic state from her mental illness that she was diagnosed with, it got tossed out. So she refiled for 24-hour consideration. And then it got tossed out again because of just some of the just weird stuff that you would think a lawyer would say. You may not want to put that you think your ex-husband is preparing for the zombie apocalypse on your restraining order.
Wow. I want to move fast forward a little bit because this is deep, but I want to go to the part where you finally got to be in your son's life like you wanted.
So, and that's still ongoing.
Right.
Because in the parenting plan, the key to things that I would say fathers is you have to be on your paperwork. You cannot wait. You can't put it aside. Men, we are horrible with paperwork.
Yes, we are.
We are horrible with let the wife handle it. Let the wife know. When you get to that situation, when you get paperwork, you file it that day. The main thing that Janelle Woods and her other lawyer, Esquire confidant, told me is that men get railroaded because they show up to court trying to explain. You had 3 months ago to explain when this was mailed to you. And she'll go, and she said, men come to her the day before they have to go to court and say, I need to get this done. And she's like, you got this 4 or 5 months ago. It's not much I can do with this, but bring this to the judge and maybe he'll listen. Right. But usually on the woman's side, they have everything filed. They have everything done. And it's da-da-da-da-da-da.
But you had it done. You were ready.
The judge is there to make a decision. He's not even here. He's not even there to hear the argument. He's there to see, okay, you got this paperwork. I got that paperwork. Okay, here I am. He's not even there to really hear what you have to say. So that is the downfall I found that I was told. And what she told me was, thank God, I was on it. When I got something, I filed it right then and there. If something happened, I wrote it down, and any type of paperwork from hospital, proof of hospital records to my work schedule, to where I was at this time, to who was with me, to luckily, the father that I've always been. My son's name was picked 10 years before he was born. His name is going to be Xion Aiden Williams.
Man,
I spell Zion with an X. I knew that then.
I want to hold you. I want to hold you here because we're gonna go to one more commercial break, and then we're gonna flip it over to the good side because we got about 10 minutes left. And man, brother, you ain't changed. You like to talk. So we'll do a quick commercial break, and then we'll tie up on the good side because man, this is really helping some brother out there, man. Mm-hmm.
I tried to be secular about this book, but I can't. Something's working within me.
EJ was already an incredible person, and then he wrote a book.
I turned to God as a person that stopped believing. So you will meet me there, and if not, you will see the works that help me get there.
If you want to know how to change and learn how to change from the inside out, you read this book.
Money is a real thing. It's a part of it. But what I show in the book, and I'm telling my young people out there, I'm walking you through business. This is a real business lecture 101. It's not the green that's going to keep you sustained. It's your influence. How well do you impart influence and love in people? How do I make you rich by a conversation we've had?
It's going to help you no matter what situation, no matter what trials or tribulations you're going through. It's going to give you that ammo that you need.
Watch God grow inside of me. Watch him show me why this went wrong to get to right. To him to say, you know what, God? I needed the tragedy too. I needed to feel loss. I needed to feel grief. I needed to feel let down. And thank God you've got me where I'm at in my marriage, with my kids, with my family, so I can see the blessings and I can tell somebody else how all those things I went through in the past got me where I'm at today.
You can get through anything if you just keep the faith and walk through that valley and don't give up. Don't turn back, don't look back, just keep looking forward, and the goal is right there. You just have to keep pushing for it.
Keep your brains in your head, keep your heart in your chest, and keep your pee-pee in your pants. And that's it.
That's great advice.
Try not to cry.
This will stay in your hearts for the rest of your life, and it will conquer the demons that lie in your mind.
You know, I love LaTeef so much. He's in my book, Navigating Through the Valleys of Success, A Perspective in the Thick of It or in Perseverance. Branded in 67 seconds, credit to a Python. Check it out. It's a whole chapter about how this brother's light is shining on everybody. Now, we're getting close to the end, but I want you to take it to the other side. The reason why I brought you here, because I love how you love your son. And you're not alone. You're not single in the sense of the word, ladies. So don't you all get all hot and bothered because he's taken. Because I want to show you a picture of your whole new family. Let's talk about that. The way you love your son and publicly love your family is a beautiful thing. Oh, man, beautiful. Who's that young lady with you?
Oh, that is investigator, the lovely Miss Tiara Banks.
And she's a badass. She can shoot. She can do it all.
Say it again.
I said she's a badass. I saw a photo of her shooting at the shooting range. What
yeah, she is the first and only African American female on the Rockledge Police Department SWAT team. She just made detective, and she's the love of my life. She's the reason why I quit Orange County Fire Department to be closer to my son, and took a less paying job with the Rockledge Fire Department. I took the over 10K a year pay cut just to be closer to my son. My lawyer said, if we have to go through the courts, it'll definitely help us out if you were a local firefighter. So I said, that's all you have to say. I met the chief already. He was helping me pass my paramedic national test. So he said, hey, I can use your seniority. So I was like, oh, great. She and I had actually already met because I just gravitate, and people of like mind gravitate towards me. Actually, my mentor out here, Michael Kador, who's also a city councilman, a lot like you, CJ. He's law enforcement as well, who he was at the time, the public safety coordinator with the East Florida State College, invited me to his church. And I was actually going there with my family before my ex-wife, and Tiara was a member there. We hadn't met. Her father is one of the pastors there, and we didn't meet until we were on a call. She was PD, I was, fire on a call.
This is like a TV show.
Yeah, exactly. And like we had a conversation there. It was actually, the funny story is another firefighter was hitting on her, and he's like, hey, you got to come back to the station and have dinner. And I was like, Joel, how you going to invite them to the station? I'm the one cooking. He was like, that's why I told him to come back to the station. You cook real good. So I'm thinking I'm going to be Goose to his Maverick when he talked to her, but turns out, we vibed well. And, it went from our first date was our last, and
how's that connection between her and your son? And I want to talk about how you raise your son. You take him places that I think even married Black fathers don't do, because we were too stuck on time. Let's talk about that really quick before we close out.
He goes everywhere with me, man. He is my best friend. He is my best friend. When I get married,
on the screen a little while ago,
man, at my wedding, because there's nowhere. I mean, I found a gym that he can be right there sitting on the next machine with me. I don't miss out on anything because you're doing it right. When people see me, they wonder, where is Zion? Because he's not with me. When I go to Zion's school, all the other little kids say, hey, Zion's dad, because I don't want to miss anything. My days off, I look so much forward to like picking him up. I just out of habit yell his name when he's not here, when he's at his mother's house, because he's just that much just a part of me, and I don't even have men in my circle. And this isn't by elimination. I don't have men in my circle that don't take care of their children. Hell, don't take care of children that aren't biologically. I'm one of them. Wow. I raised my daughter Imani. Me and her mother met when Imani was 7 days old, and she just turned 20. And she's been, you know, a part of my life. You know, now she's old and grown, and you know, I get a text every now and then now. But I don't know anything else other than to be the father that my father was towards me. But my father said, no, you're not going to be like me. You're going to be better than me. Man. You know, so, and that's what I strive to do. And that's what I strive to be. I don't want him to miss, and I don't mean just monetary stuff. Like I'm talking like baiting the hook, you know, on when we go fishing. I do fire safety week so that my son can say, you know, oh, you want to be a firefighter? My daddy's a firefighter. And there he is right there, you know, and it feels good when my son says, you know, when he says, I want to be a firefighter, he says, I want to be like daddy, you know, that just makes me not want to make any mistakes.
With that said, you've got about 45 seconds to tell men out there that, I'm not just talking about the dads that want their kids, the dads that know they got kids out there. Give us about like 40 seconds of what it's like, the miracle of being a father to your child.
Man, it's the greatest thing in the world. I always tell people that firefighting is the second greatest job in the world. First one is being a father. And you project that. I mean, I see kids cutting up anywhere else, and I look at them, and you know, and that fatherness just comes out. Like, you may not have one at home, but you got one right here for about 30 seconds. So straighten up. You know, and just he can make me mad 1 minute, but he'll smile and punch me in the stomach, and you know, just you know, I get him whatever he wants, you know, and it's I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
He is definitely a chip off the block. I love watching how you guys interact, you know, and like I said, you're my brother, man, you know, and I had to have you on the show. And for Father's Day, I would love to have you back with a bunch of other good brothers that I know who have a big session on what it's like to be a father. But I just wanted to give you a taste of the people that I know, man. And it's more than just fatherhood. This guy is just an amazing human being. I'd love to get into a more comical state of what he is in my eyes. I'm the introvert. He's the super extrovert. Guys, I want to, so LaTeef, I want to thank you for being on the show, man. I got to have you on again because we're not done yet. There's a lot to get into the weeds of. Like I said earlier today, I wanted to have a little surprise for Deon Xavier. It's your birthday. Men, be fathers to your children. Go find your kids right now. It's never too late. Okay, it's never too late.
Never.
But and thank you, LaTeef. You are the man. Thank you so much. The
thank
surprise
you,
is Zay and a little DJ. They got put a little. Their single is growing, and I wanted to put it out there. You know, it's blowing up. The kids are performing. They really mastered their craft. Deon and Tashi did an excellent job.
Yes.
So let's take a look at Too Real by Zay.
So trust me, it's too real out here. Just trust you cannot have no fear. My heart dried up and got no tears. No tears. Trust me, it's too real out here. Just trust you cannot feel out here. My heart dries up too cold out here. It's too real.
Sometimes I get really aggressive whenever I'm feeling tested. The rap is not a confession, so put your feelings to rest. See a hater beside of me, pray to God that he guided me, cause the beast that's inside of me taking over like prodigies. Getting on your nerves to let you know that I'm running it. Crocodile mouth whenever I feel like talking shit. I'm a pit bull, so when I'm knocking, I'm ripping it. And you better have a bike, cause only parking to me's a bitch. Damn.
Oh my God, man, Deon, you did such a good job because you're such a great father. Tasha, excellent mother. Guys, thank you again. Please, your donations or your giving helps. Venmo, Cash App. It's out there, you know, at CJ Functional Venmo, $ for Cash App, CJ Functional. And I will see you in 2 weeks. We're going to talk about some survivors, more stuff. I got more mentors. I got the backup. Mentorship moments, each one teach one. We are the village.
It happened.